All right, we're on your side tonight with an effort to create opportunity. It's estimated there are about 6.5 million people in the United States living with an intellectual disability. When they're kids, they can tap into a lot of resources, educational and otherwise. Things often get harder as they transition into adulthood. Parental caregivers get older, safe housing can be hard to come by, and then there's employment. We've highlighted examples around town of places that hire people with autism or Down syndrome. And while it's helpful, the fact is we need more of these kinds of places, a lot more. And not only that, but places that offer a diversity of work. We found some research commissioned by Special Olympics. Check out some of these numbers. It shows here that 28% of working age adults with an intellectual disability have never held a job. Now 34% are employed. And of those who are working, only about half are in a competitive setting where most people do not have a disability. Last night, we introduced you to this little girl, Kennedy Boone. She's a second grader now with Down syndrome who was also born with a congenital heart defect. She faced her first surgery at 8 weeks, a second one about a year later. Today, you'd never know the heck she went through.
And then you see her doing all the same things and wanting to do all the same things that her older brother's doing. And you go, wow.
Miraculous, right?
It's phenomenal.
And when you see those moments like that of the normalcy, and you think where you were just a few years ago,
yeah.
What goes through your mind?
A lot of gratitude. A ton of gratitude.
Yeah, a ton of gratitude. That's Kennedy's mom, Betsy, who knows full well the heart issue is actually just hurdle one. The next is her daughter's long-term future and all the kids just like her.
80% of people with an intellectual or developmental disability, IDD, are living at home. 54% of those caregivers don't have a plan for the future. The unemployment rate is twice as high for somebody with a disability. If you are working, it's likely to be part-time, maybe 2 hours or 4 hours a week. As adults who want to work, well then who's driving my kid to and from this? And more importantly, I want her to have a purpose.
That's why the Boone family started the Kennedy Strong Foundation. They're developing programs to empower individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Things that boost confidence and endurance, education and training that can lead to full-time employment. And they're also working with businesses to create more inclusive workplaces.
First and foremost, everybody needs to believe in what's possible. There's more and more data that's showing individuals with Down syndrome and IDD that are running triathlons. They're modeling, they're running the Boston Marathon. So we want to build a community, literally build a community so that you've got independent living with assistance and employment within walking distance or closed circuit transportation, because that's your biggest obstacle.
So does this mean now you're working, you're talking to business owners, you're trying to get in with them to, hey, you know what, there's a viable workforce here for you?
Yes, we're talking within the schools, we're talking to business owners, we're talking to parents. And we're saying, and we're also talking to the individuals themselves, because there's some buck up buttercup that has to happen.
No excuses.
Well, if you want this, you're telling me you want to live on your own, you're telling me you want a job, well then you got to wake up.
Yeah. And do they get that?
Yes, as long as you're consistent, because that is your success metric for all things.
Sure.
Anybody who does anything well has had to show consistency.
You're not going to find a more loyal employee.
You won't.
You know?
Yeah.
So I mean, this is at some level, it's not charity. I mean, they're doing good work for your business, and you're getting something out of this,
well,
you know?
I think the biggest fear is, well, I don't know how this is going to work out. And then I'd pose the question, do you know how it's going to work out for Bob? You have no idea how that employee's going to work out in reality. Well, no, you don't. It's a roll of the dice. There's an employment challenge within Charlotte, across the country, right? Well, if you have access to people who want to have a job, studies show that they're more reliable, they enjoy it, they're longer lasting, your retention's higher, then you're able to cut your HR costs.
Makes sense, right? Coming up April 10th, write this date down, the Kennedy Strong Foundation will be part of the first ever Abilities Employment Symposium here in Charlotte, a collaboration of several organizations committed to creating more opportunities. It's going to be held at One Bank of America Center in Uptown. We put a link where you can find more information on our website. Just go to wbtv.com/webextras.